This is a special report from ABC News Digital.
I'm Dan Kleffler in New York with this ABC News Digital special report. A tiger attacks his trainer in the Australia Zoo, and it is caught on camera by several horrified zoo visitors. Fellow trainers leap into action to drag the man to safety. The tiger handler was a senior member of the staff who had raised the animal since it was a cub. He was airlifted to a hospital where he remains in serious but stable condition with neck and shoulder wounds. And right now, I am joined via Skype by Dr. Luke Hunter, president of Panthera, a global wildcat conservation organization. Luke, thank you for being with us today, because obviously the video on that is just horrifying to watch on this. The handler was taking part in what is described as play exercises and activities. What is that?
I guess, Dan, that's where, zoos around the world, not many of them anymore, but still interact with these large cats, to sort of, I suppose, train them to put on a bit of a show, and perhaps there's some benefits and it gets the cats to exercise, just to not loaf around all day. But of course, as the video shows, there's real dangers associated with that. I mean,
and that's the kind of a bond that obviously has to be created from spending a significant amount of time, I would imagine, with that animal. And as we've been learning, the handler actually helped raise that cat from a young age.
Yeah, I guess so, and I guess that's the process. I mean, I've never interacted with captive big cats like this because I think it's so endangered. All my work is with wildcats, where we don't interact like this. But I think, as I understand the process, these guys are raising them from being very young cubs. They probably do develop a close bond, but of course, at the end of the day, they're wild animals. So it doesn't mean that you're not going to have some issues as we see arose in that video.
I wanted to ask you about this. We also have video from the Australia Zoo of the same tigers, what is being described in this play exercise activities. And as we're looking at it, what's going on here? I mean, because you see the animals, they're huge and obviously can pose a great deal of danger.
The cat, and it's sort of amazing, Dan, isn't it? That, I mean, most of the time, tigers and big cats, I think they're incredibly restrained. They're incredibly well behaved, because it would be very easy for a tiger in that scenario to kill a person at every opportunity it gets. So it's actually quite surprising, to be honest, that it doesn't happen more often. So I guess in these scenarios, there's some stimulation and enjoyment that the cat gets out of the exercise. That it's like playing with a toy with a little domestic cat. They have some fun out of it. They're stimulated. It taps into that predatory drive to get it excited. The costs of that, of course, are if the animal gets overexcited, and it is a carnivore that's had a couple million years of evolution to become really well attuned to killing things, that if that stimulus becomes too much, that things can go south very quickly and you end up with attack that can be devastating.
How big can those tigers get? I mean, if you look at the video right now and you kind of judge the proportion of it to a human being, I mean, that's a big animal.
Exactly, Dan. It's a huge animal, and their strength is phenomenal. I mean, an adult tiger can exceed, 600 pounds, 280 to 300 kilograms in some cases, particularly in captivity where, the nutrition is so good that they sometimes exceed the size of animals in the wild tigers. And their strength is just formidable. They're able to take down adult brown bears, elk, moose. I mean, these are the natural prey of a wild tiger. So a puny human really, is no challenge for them if they were so inclined.
As far as the distemperament of these animals, because obviously this is going to raise questions about those who would argue that this kind of an animal shouldn't be kept in an enclosure, shouldn't be kept in a zoo, or shouldn't have this kind of interaction with humans.
I think that's a really key point, Dan. I think the interaction issue is a real problem because, as much as we've seen this over the years, it's almost inevitable that someone gets injured. And I think Australia Zoo, I'm originally from Australia. I think Australia Zoo is unusual in still proposing and promoting this very close interaction with such dangerous species. So most zoos around the world, that's very rare. They no longer do this because of those risks. So I think, the close-up interaction, while it may be well-meaning, and I'm sure the keepers adore their animals and they actually believe in the benefits for them in this sort of exercise and interaction, I think it's really questionable whether it's just worth the risk.
Luke, let me ask you this. Well, where do most of these animals then come from? I mean, are they born and raised in captivity? Are they taken from the wild? Are they rescued? Where's the source?
Most of them are born in captivity now. It's really unusual, especially in zoos in the US and Australia and Western Europe and so on, to get wild tigers, from Asian range countries. So, there is a very healthy, large captive population of tigers. So there's no need to pull tigers from the wild for captivity. So most zoos, at least in, the developed countries, are going to, the animal will have been born in captivity to captive parents and grandparents and so on. For many generations, they've been in captivity.
All right, Dr. Luke Hunter with Panthera. Luke, tell me a little bit about your organization.
Dan, Panthera is the world's leading big cat conservation organization. We just focus on trying to conserve big cats in the wild, where they exist throughout the wild areas of the world.
All right. Luke Hunter, thank you so much for your time, your insight. We appreciate it. We have a complete report right here on abcnews.com. For now, I'm Dan Kleffler in New York with this ABC News Digital Special Report.